The decline of Christianity in the United States. Christianity has been at the heart of the American identity for centuries, shaping its culture, politics, and communities. But over the decades, its presence in the United States has undergone profound changes. Let's travel back to the 1960s. Christianity was the backbone of American life. Over 93% of the population identified as Christian, approximately 169 million people. Church pews were filled every Sunday, and faith was woven into the social fabric. By 1970, the Christian population had grown to 192 million, about 90% of the nation. The rise of evangelical movements and youth revivals energized the faith, even as secular ideas began to emerge. The 1980s saw Christianity influencing culture and politics more than ever, with 87% of Americans identifying as Christian. Evangelical leaders shaped national debates, while megachurches became a hallmark of suburban life. But by the 1990s, cracks began to show. While 85% of Americans, about 210 million people, still identified as Christian, the rise of the knowns, those with no religious affiliation, hinted at future changes. In the 2000s, the Christian population hit 224 million, or 81% of the U.S. population. However, younger generations were starting to drift away from organized religion, and churches faced growing challenges to retain their influence. By 2010, the Christian share of the population dropped to 75%. The rise of secularization and the growth of other religious communities, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism, reflected America's changing spiritual landscape. In 2020, Christianity accounted for 65% of the population, or 246 million Americans. Evangelical Protestantism remained strong in the South, but the number of religiously unaffiliated Americans continued to grow. Looking ahead to 2050, projections show that Christians could make up only 50% of the U.S. population, about 220 million people. This would mark the first time in history that Christianity and knowns would approach parity in the U.S. The U.S. is becoming a land of religious diversity. While Christianity will remain the largest religion, the rise of secularism and other faiths signals a shift in American spiritual life. From a 93% majority in 1960 to a 50% share by 2050, Christianity's evolution mirrors the dynamic, diverse, and ever-changing identity of the United States. From a 93% majority in 1960 to a 50% share by 2050, Christianity's evolution mirrors the dynamic, diverse, and ever-changing identity of the United States. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.